Hi, everyone. Welcome to our impromptu live stream that Peter and I are doing today. The reason we're doing this, and it might go for a long time, it might go for a couple of hours, is that we are doing our very first Leanpub events on
Okay.
Saturday. And so let me just show you this here. There's going to be a lot of screen sharing going on here. That's not the right one. That's the right one. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of screen sharing going on today. We don't expect anyone to really watch this. Hopefully, probably what's going to happen is people are going to see like these guys have been live for an hour and a half or something like that and drop in.
So this is, I'm going to jump in. So Len is being like, Peter, we need to practice. I'm like, it's my thing. It's my things to do. And then it's like, I'm like, Len's right. We do need to practice. And so this is kind of like, I like playing StarCraft. And the thing is, even when I haven't played StarCraft for a month, the first game I play, ranked. Like, it's like, I can't play StarCraft unless there are points at stake. Like, and so this is like, if we're going to practice for our workshop, we've already built all the material. Like, we built a book, actually, ironically, using Ghost AI of the material. But for us to practice, it's like, well, if we're practicing on a live stream, like, then we'll do more, it'll be more real of a practice than if we're sitting here talking to ourselves or like inflicting this on our teammates. So, this is going to be fun. It's going to be improv, and we are not very polished or scripted here, and that's kind of the point. So we'll just see. We've got all the material figured out, like what we want to talk about, but we don't know. Like, and it's a 3-hour workshop, but it's not like we have 3 hours of material. It's a 3-hour interactive workshop where people will be doing stuff, right? And so it could be that Len and I are only going for an hour or an hour and a half. We want to make this actually interesting and fun. So if it's like, hey, well, this would be where you do the thing. Well, we're obviously not just going to stand around and pretend that you're doing a thing. We're just going to skip it. So, sorry, Len, go ahead.
Yeah, and you can find the Leanpub Events page on leanpub.com. Just go to events. You can find it prominently displayed in the menu at the top. So the one we're practicing in this live stream is the book workshop. The idea partly here is that, we have so much in-house knowledge and experience and all that kind of stuff. And if we can impart that to you as an author at the beginning or in the middle, or even at the end, maybe of your first book kind of journey, we can really help you save a lot of time, maybe do a much better job, much faster, and reach more readers and hopefully write a better book. So that's the event that we're practicing for now live. And we're going to be doing it Saturday in 7 a.m. Pacific time where we are. Obviously, that's different times around the world. You can get a free ticket if you want. You can get a pro ticket where you basically get $179 pro author membership for the $79 cost of the seat. So the pro seat for the book workshop, you can reserve it for basically, it's a discounted pro author membership, which is awesome. And so basically, 3 hours means like doing a lot, talking about a lot of things. So we're going to be practicing that here today. There is a book that will accompany it that we're writing.
We'll make the book. I'm not sure if we're providing the book because we're producing a book. We haven't officially promised that it's accompanying it or not. Right now, the book is for our benefit only because I don't think it's good enough to accompany it yet. And between now and Saturday morning, I'm not sure if it will become good enough to accompany it. Believe me, the reason so let me back up and just meta talk about why are we doing any of this. So we are running a workshop so that we can, like, basically, and I'm an experiment. So this is a totally experimental practice, right? So I'm going to literally, the reason I don't have my microphone is I literally I'm not using it because I want to be able to like demo stuff and flap my arms and walk around and draw things even. So I'm just going to see if this comes off. So here we are here. This is Leanpub's, we have the world's slowest viral loop. Here's how it works. You read a book, and I need a new marker. You read a book. Is this legible or should I go bigger?
You'll want to go quite a bit bigger, I think.
Quite a bit bigger. Oh, right.
It's going to be a bit, well, I can stop.
No.
Stop
Okay.
Chair.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, cool. So you read a book.
One thing we're going to have to do throughout this live stream is say, do the radio announcer kind of thing where if you've just joined us, Peter and I are practicing for our first Leanpub Bookshop event on Saturday, May 2nd. Reserve your seat now.
Yes. So this is, and by the way, if you are around at 7 a.m. on Saturday, don't bother watching this. Like, you're going to get a way better experience on Saturday. You know, we have this is like, Len and I are doing this for our own benefit. If anyone happens to discover Leanpub because of this, great, wonderful. Like, so I'm getting ahead of myself. So here's the idea. This is Leanpub's viral loop. It's amazing. You read a book on Leanpub because some author does a really good job writing a book and marketing it and everything, and you discover the book, you buy it and read it. And then some small percentage of people who read books think, hey, I'd like to write a book sometime, right? And then they're like, well, then obviously Leanpub is one of the ways you can do this. And, you know, we're, I think, the best way to write a book, especially a book if you know what Markdown is. We are definitely the best way in the world to write a book. But even if you don't know what Markdown is, we're also, I think, the best way in the world to write a book. But this is our viral loop. Now, the amazing thing about this is, how long do you think it takes to write a book? Well, I mean, about a year, right? Now, on Leanpub, you can publish in progress. And so, like, you know, it might take, say, only a month from someone deciding they want to write a book to click the publish button on Leanpub for the first time. So, you know, the actual amount of time it takes someone to write a book and get it out on Leanpub is between a month to a year. And this is our loop, right? And so basically, this is what I lovingly call the world's slowest viral loop. Now, if you compare this to X, how long does it take to write a tweet? Right? 10 seconds or a minute if you're thoughtful. So, you know, this is fundamentally the reality of Leanpub is this loop. And so it's like, okay, well, what can we do to make this go faster? Is essentially why we're doing this. And so, ironically, I'm going to get ahead of myself here. The thing we're doing in the afternoon of this, so if you, Len didn't talk about it yet, but basically we're doing the book workshop in the morning on Saturday. In the afternoon on Saturday, we're doing a workshop about Ghost AI. And Ghost AI is a thing that we're building. It's a set of Claude Code skills. They're MIT licensed to help authors write their books so that this part here can go faster, right? Like, if we can provide tools to help authors write faster, then this part compresses, and then this whole flywheel goes faster, right? And then the event, so that's why we're building Ghost AI. Now, in the morning, like our book work, like, sorry, I'm going way ahead of myself, and this is actually one of the reasons to practice is that I'm improvising and I'm going all over the place. The reason we're doing events like Saturday and why we're doing live streams and stuff like this is basically if we can do things to explain Leanpub to the world in a way that lets us buy ads to promote the workshop and spend all the money that we earn from the workshop on ads promoting the workshop, then we get Leanpub in front of a lot more people. And it's really cool because, like, we've just promoting this workshop, we've already, like, you know, had the workshop promotional stuff already have over 1 million impressions. So it's like 1 million people saw something about Leanpub that they wouldn't have seen about otherwise. And so for us, the workshops are a way of getting attention for Leanpub. That's the entire point. And so I don't, like, personally, I just want people to know about Leanpub. If they pay money to come to our workshop, that'd be amazing. And we think it's an amazing deal because not only do you get the $179 1-year pro membership, you also get a $79 credit toward other stuff. So, like, it's a great deal. But if you don't want to pay, you just come free. Like, we have a free ticket as well. So if you're watching this and you're like, man, these guys need to practice, it's good they're spending the next couple of days practicing, come on Saturday. We'll have practiced and it'll be really awesome. Now, who knows? The way that YouTube works, maybe it turns out that this practice thing is the thing that gets us all the attention. If they're like, oh, look at Peter being an idiot. So, you know, who knows? We just want attention for Leanpub.
And just
And
to do
so,
a quick
Len, go ahead.
jumping in thing here for anyone watching, what we're talking about here is our big book workshop, where we're doing we're going to be doing Leanpub events going forward for all kinds of really great reasons. If you go to leanpub.com and you go to the events page, you'll see that the book workshop, which is what we're practicing here, we're going to be doing it Saturday morning. There are free seats, and there's also a pro ticket that you can get for $79, where you get $179 kind of pro author membership as part of the deal. So it's basically a discount on that, and a cool seat at our event that we're practicing for right now.
We should probably hand wave it the full day and go say just for people who are scheduling.
Yes, and there's also a full day one with again free, where we do the book workshop, and then we show you Ghost AI, which is a very, very, very cool thing that we've built in Claude as a Claude skill, basically. It's very cool. If you're basically like, if you're into Claude and stuff like that, you will, and you like writing books, or you've always had a book idea and wished you had the time, or the kind of like you wish you had a staff to help you write it. Ghost AI workshop is for you. So there's also a full day workshop. So let's get back to our
No. Let's just hang out here for a minute more. We're here. We might as well talk about it, because again, we're doing this for our benefit. So for my benefit, if you're coming to the workshop, basically we're starting at 7 a.m. so that people in Europe can do the full day experience and not be up past midnight. Right. So like 7 a.m. See, if you go to the book workshop, it's 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Pacific.
And then Pacific time. And then we have an hour and a half break, and then the Ghost AI workshop happens. And the reason for that is so that if someone comes to our morning workshop and they're like, oh, this is amazing, I just discovered Leanpub through this promotion they were doing on X, and I come to this workshop, it sounds really great, and what's this Ghost AI thing? Then they can come to the Ghost AI workshop. So can you go to the Ghost AI tab? Second one. So then, so basically an hour and a half, like from 11:30 till 2:30 on the same day, like on Saturday, is the Ghost AI workshop, and we have free tickets and pro tickets. And for both of these, like, you know, we're going to have like somewhere between 20 and 100 people top, like max 100, but we're looking at like 20 or 30 people coming to the in-person event, so that we actually have time to talk to people and make the workshop really interactive, not just like listening to Len and I talk for 3 hours. So this is in the afternoon, from 11:30 to 2:30 Pacific, which means even if you're in Europe, you can still attend and not be up till 3 or 4 in the morning. You can get a free ticket for this as well. And if you're like, yeah, great, I'm going to do both of them, then you don't have to bother getting both tickets. You can just go to the full day workshop thing over here and just click free ticket and then get one of those, or pay money and, you know, get the pro membership and the credit toward the boot camp as well. So yeah, okay. Now we'll go from there into our scheduled practicing for book workshop.
Okay.
All right.
So the first thing we would do is participant intros, which obviously kind of difficult to practice. But like, let's say, Peter, you pretend. So hi, Peter.
No.
Why are you here?
Okay, well, I'm here to talk all about Leanpub and our workshops, and I'm also doing things like testing whether my AirPods are good enough as an audio thing, or whether I have to use the annoying microphone in front of my screen, and whether I can draw on whiteboards and have them visible, and learn how to stay on topic. Well, you, Len, why are you here?
Well, if I were an ordinary kind of like Leanpub author, if I were a Leanpub author, the reason I'd be here is like, I kind of heard about this. It seems like an interesting way to spend a couple hours. But the main reason I would do it, I would attend one of these workshops, is because I wanted to be more effective and, like, you know, basically like learn from the experts in 3 hours. If I'm going to be spending 1,000 hours on a book project, and like I would want to learn from the experts at the beginning, because anyone who's ever done a long-term project knows that if you can get like good tutelage and see basically an expert doing it, like if you've ever seen a Navy SEAL parachute, that will make you a better parachuter. And if you could see that at the beginning, oh, that's a model for what it means to like really be excellent at parachuting, that will make you have that model in your head. So that's the kind of reason I would attend a workshop like this, is like, I know that like my advantages will be exponential over time if I can just see the best way of doing it first. Even if I don't remember it all or whatever, just getting it's like if you've ever seen like a Kung Fu Master or something like that, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, oh, sure, that's how it's done.
And also in terms of from thinking like from computer science, there's like breadth first to depth first. Like you can, like what we want to do in the workshop is show people the different ways you can do things.
Mm-hmm.
So that because it could be that someone shows up to write a novel because they're like, well, like I know there are some people I know are using Leanpub for their computer books, but they're having a great time and I'm just writing a novel. I might use Leanpub too. And they might never even discover our visual editor. And it could be that, oh, if I'd only known about it, I would have used the visual editor for my novel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like someone like, just getting the sense of, hey, how do I set up GitHub mode? Right. Or a Dropbox, or, I can upload my books. I didn't even realize that. So just giving people, getting a breadth first search of what we can do before we go depth first in all the various features that we can do.
And the other element of it too is, what do I do when I've published my book, which obviously on Leanpub you can do a lot sooner than you would do on other platforms, because we encourage you to publish early and publish often. And so one of the really important things also is like to think through pricing. And if you don't know about our coupons, for example, like you probably won't make insofar as there is a right decision about pricing. If you don't know about our discount program and stuff like that, like, you'll probably reach more meters and make more money if you have these things in mind earlier on in the process than you would normally have to think about them if you were publishing a book generally. Like,
Leanpub, we've just jumping it. We'll probably have to set up those like jumping to commonly skipped section things, and chances are one of those will be about pricing, because when we do the sort of demo talk about pricing in this stream here, like. Basically, like Leanpub, we've been around for 16 years, right? And we're here to serve our authors. And so we have given authors all the tools they need to like do things like, okay, I have a price for my book. Well, I can have a minimum price and a suggested price. Okay, great. I can allow free purchases. Okay, great. I can require that those require a membership. Why would I do that? What's that? Oh, and then I can opt into Leanpub discounts. Why would I do that? Well, Leanpub runs these sales and they send newsletters to, over 100,000 people. Oh, that's cool. And now Leanpub has credits. Well, what are credits? And that's with reader memberships. And oh, my discounted price can affect how many credits it costs. What does all that mean? It's like we've built all these features to help our authors over 16 years. And it might be a bit overwhelming. Like the pricing page has a lot of choices. And so we're going to lay it all out. It'll all make total sense. And if that's one of the things you'll get from this workshop, either it's by watching the stream or by coming to the workshop. One more thing before I forget, the workshop is not going to be recorded, and we're not going to record it. We're not going to, since we're not recording it, we're not going to stream it anywhere. We're not going to either after the fact or anything. It's private for the benefit of the workshop attendees. And so in terms of us doing things publicly, this is our public practice, but the actual workshop itself is for the benefit of the attendees, because then that way people can relax, not think, oh, I'm on camera and I'm going to be on YouTube and blah, 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 right? That's a bit disconcerting for some people. So.
Okay. Yeah. And so now if that was a stand-in for our pretending we were doing participant intros, the next step in our plan for the workshop is to just present you with the agenda. We've got 5 minutes scheduled for that here, but I don't think going through an agenda.
We kind of improv the agenda and the intro to Lean. Or do you want to?
But just so people know, like the agenda will be, the first part is going to be, we're going to show you 5 ways to write your book. What we were just talking about, there's like various ways to do it, depending on who you are, what your project is, and where you go in your sort of journey writing. You might switch modes too. So we're also going to show you how you can do that. And then we're going to talk about lean publishing, the lean publishing philosophy, and what that's all about. And then a little bit of guidance about publishing cadence, which if you're going to be publishing serially, basically, how often should you be publishing? What does that mean to publish a lot or often? Then we're going to take you through a guided tour of what we call the author app, which is like if you sign up as an author on Leanpub, there's this whole new dimension of Leanpub where you can create books and courses and work on your books and courses and change their status from unpublished to published and stuff like that. So there's a lot to show you there in the author app. The next section we're going to talk about is pricing and selling, which we were just discussing. And yeah, like that's kind of complicated on Leanpub. That's good because that means there's a lot of choices.
Feature rich.
The other part of it is that there are a lot of choices to make.
Mhm.
And we hopefully make the best ones for you by default, but there is a lot to learn. And then there's kind of like, you can kind of get a PhD in Leanpub and know a bunch of really cool pricing things you can do if you're into that. Then the next part, we're going to talk about stories from Leanpub authors. So I've interviewed, over 300 authors for the Leanpub podcast over the years, and I think over almost 175 launch videos with authors now. So I've taught, and one thing that I try to do in all of those interviews is talk to the authors at the end about their writing approach. So there's this great archive in our podcast of like authors talking for hours and hours and hours, like cumulatively, about how they do it. And it's like, it ranges from like telling your wife and kids every Saturday afternoon, I'm going in that room for the next 6 months and you don't get to talk to me, to I only do it when I'm in cafes, to whenever I've got time, to literally I'm dictating into a phone when I'm holding my baby in one arm and like doing a chore in the other. So there's lots of kind of very cool stories to learn about from Leanpub authors about writing, how they write, how they made it to like their first chapter, how they made it to completing their book, how they made it to being a best-selling author, all kinds of stuff like that. The next thing we'll talk about is how if you've written a nonfiction book on Leanpub, you can turn it into a course, an online course, which is a really great idea for lots of reasons we'll go into. And then we'll talk about what to do next, which will come at the kind of the end of the workshop. And then finally, we'll just do a little Q&A session, I think, for anybody who sticks around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's some hand waving in here, like in the appendix, about like Markua and a glossary and quick reference and whatnot. But
yeah, so that's the agenda. Now that we've gone over the agenda, part of the agenda, the next thing is a little intro to Leanpub. So,
all right,
Peter, if you have 10 minutes to talk to people who've decided to take time out of their day, what would you say?
Okay, well, I'll save them some time because I already went and jumped ahead. But I'll first of all take this off the stage. So first of all, why does Leanpub exist? Leanpub exists basically to be the best way in the world for an author to self-publish a book, to write, publish, and sell a book. And it's the thing that I wish had existed in when I wrote my first book and my second book. It's like basically the core sort of like the core person that Leanpub is for is someone who wants to write, have full control of what they're doing, publish in progress, like in order to get reader feedback, and iterate until they're done and have the right book. Now, Len said 1,000 hours. That's one of those numbers that like my first book took me about 1,000 hours. I think we can bring that number down for lots of people to like 100. Like, and in terms of until you've first published, we want to get that number down to like 10, 20, like, like basically like, even less than 10 from when you decide to start until you've published the first version, not completed, obviously, but the first in progress version of your book. So like Leanpub exists basically to be the best way in the world for authors to write, publish, and sell an in progress or completed book or course. If you look at our logo, like our logo is literally an in progress book, right? It's a progress bar. Like it's one of those things that like not everyone realizes, but Leanpub is about like basically it's like if you think about why is Leanpub important, Leanpub is important because we help authors while their book is in progress. And that means the author gets a better book out of it and the world gets a better book out of it versus lots of like, the normal thing is for an author when they're writing their book, it's a solitary struggle and no one really cares until the book is done. And all the infrastructure to support the author is after the first version, like completed version is done. And historically, like even like with like the best publishers who like did have early access programs and other in progress sort of things around computer programming books, historically it had been like the model was like you need completed chapters and lots of them.
Yeah.
And then you do the first thing. And it was very like heavyweight, like the process was heavyweight. For Leanpub, we are trying to be the exact opposite of that. Like Leanpub is called Leanpub because the idea of lean publishing, right? And, lean publishing is basically like what I was just saying. But I just want to give a nod to Eric Ries. Like Leanpub is called Leanpub because of lean publishing. Lean publishing is a nod to lean startup. And literally, Eric Ries was Leanpub's first author, right? Which going way back to 2010, before the Lean Startup came out. And so we have a huge debt to all of Lean Startup ideas in Leanpub. And so basically, if you're an author and you want to write your book and publish it in progress and get feedback from readers in order to make your book better, we are the tool chain to do that. We're the tool chain for you to write, for you to click a button and publish. And literally, you click a button. So you can click a button 10 times in a day if you want. And pre-Leanpub or in other approaches, the idea of, oh, I'll publish 5 or 10 times in a day, it's crazy. Like, you couldn't do it. Like, if every time you wanted to publish a version of your book took an hour or two, you'd be doing nothing but the chore, right? But with Leanpub, we make it as easy as a button click. So we're like a magical typewriter for authors. And so, and this is all free. Like, you can sign up and use Leanpub to do all that completely free. And obviously, if you're doing all this, the path of least resistance is we have this lovely store for you, and we pay 80% royalties. And so go ahead, Len.
I was just going to say, one of the things I've always liked to say about Leanpub is like Leanpub probably is the first platform to combine writing and selling, like really integrate them.
Writing, publishing, and selling.
Writing, publishing, and selling. They're truly integrated on Leanpub. When you sort of kind of like when you click the publish button for the first time, having written your book manuscript in the browser where you click that button, and then realize you can update it right away and click the button again, and then you can go change your like when you realize it's all connected and what the power is that like the powers that come from that, then you'll sort of get what we're all about. But like the idea that like the writing part and the selling part are kind of like completely different. That's one of the things that we change if you want to approach it differently.
Yeah, and when we go so far as when you create a book on Leanpub, like when you literally go and create a new book, we automatically preview it. So just as you're like when the book is being created and you land in our in-browser editor by default, there's the default content. Like, hi, welcome to Leanpub. Here's a book. Here's a chapter. The book is previewing. So the idea of, because just to show you, it's literally that easy to create a preview of a book is like we preview your default content just because we can. Like that's how trivial it is. Okay. Anyway, I think we've gone off topic, and I think I've introduced Leanpub enough. So
so that's Leanpub. But one thing that we would want to keep in mind is like there might be people who've never heard of us before. They're like, oh, free ticket, blah blah. So what is?
No, I know
what really is all this, which is hard to do.
And we didn't talk about reader stuff, and there's so many things we didn't talk. We didn't talk about courses.
There's a million things, but intro to Leanpub. If it's someone who's like, just okay, what is this? It's a self-publishing platform for books and courses. You can write in your browser, blah blah. So,
and before we move on, I actually should take a minute to talk about courses, which is so. Leanpub, we always start with the book because that was the genesis of Leanpub. If you look at our logo, it's a book. It's not a course, right? Because when Leanpub launched, there weren't any courses on Leanpub. Over time, what we realized is that lots of the books on Leanpub were actually courses, and that just as we built this magical typewriter where an author could write in Markdown, plain text, click a button, and a book would exist. If we just gave them a different button and a course existed, wouldn't that be incredible? And so we built this platform, the course platform, where it's a little micro format where you just define quizzes and exercises. And then you can, like in a course manuscript, and click a button, and we produce a course, an online course that anyone in the world can take. And the other really neat thing is that besides providing these self-service tools for authors to create courses on Leanpub themselves, we also have an AI service that can take a book, which is going to be completed, and make a course out of that book. So that if you've produced a technical book or a nonfiction book on Leanpub, and you want to turn it into a course, you can literally just click a button and we'll do it for you. And then courses are wonderful because you can sell them to companies for a higher price typically than books. That's all I'll say about that right now. That's what I'm planning to see.
Yeah. Okay, so then the next thing on our agenda, and for anyone who's popped in, what Peter and I are doing, it's in the description of the live stream, but we're practicing for our first book workshop, which is happening, and a full day workshop, which is happening this Saturday, just in a couple days. very early in the morning here in Pacific time, but kind of later in the day, Europe time. So sort of hopefully we're kind of accommodating a lot of different people with that. The book workshop is a 3-hour event where we just sort of introduce you to Leanpub, hopefully save you a lot of time, give you a lot of kind of superpowers as you're sooner than you would learn them otherwise as you're going through your journey writing and self-publishing your book. And then in the afternoon, Pacific time, we're doing a Ghost AI workshop, which is a very cool thing that if you're into if you've heard about kind of like ghostwriting kind of tools that can be boosted by AI and stuff like that, we've got our own, and it's the best, and it's going to be very cool, and you'll be learning about that. And so what we're doing here is we're just practicing going through our agenda so that we're not doing it for the first time during the actual workshop itself. And the next step or the next sort of segment in the agenda is creating your first book. So what I will do is go back to sharing, and we're going to be, doing it live. So that always comes with its own challenges. For example, here we've got some pre-filling going on, which is annoying. So when you write a Leanpub book, you go to the Create a Book page. You can get there pretty easily from the I call this the escape hatch on the top right. Click the big menu thing. There's a Create a Book option there that you can find. And then what you're going to do is you're gonna give your book a title. We're gonna automatically suggest a URL for it, etc. And then what you're going to do is you're going to be choosing a writing mode. So that's what we're talking about right now. So there are a number of writing modes. Oh, I'm going to have to be signed into a paid account, obviously, to show all of them.
It's okay. We'll just show these ones at the starting point, because
yeah, sure, okay.
I'm the one demoing GitHub, right? So I can just do that.
Right. Okay. That's a good idea. So I'll do it as though you're signing up first for free.
Yeah.
So the 3 free modes are plain text editor, upload mode, and visual editor. Plain text editor means you write in, Markua, which is our markdown for books. If you don't know what those words mean, you'll learn that it's actually pretty simple and very powerful thing to learn. If you can use Microsoft Word, you can use this. You can use our plain text editor for sure, 100%. I actually just talked to an author yesterday who had written the whole book in Microsoft Word and got it into our plain text editor in a couple hours, which was amazing to hear. Our upload writing mode is basically for people who I've already got my EPUB or PDF. I've already made my own ebook, or I've got my own, some people have their very bespoke, kind of way of making ebook files. We've got our upload mode for them. All you do is you upload your book, and then you get all the amazing Leanpub features that you can use without having to write your book on Leanpub. And then we've got what we call our visual editor, where you don't kind of need to kind of learn the Markua or Markdown for books. And that's a very cool thing. It's obviously in beta stage there. So I believe the first one we're going to be doing is
plain text.
Plain text, my demo book.
While Linda's typing, one little note, because just ignore me, about Ghost AI. So it basically, I'm going to say 3 words. If you understand it, Ghost AI is for you. GStack for books. If you know what that means, come to our Ghost AI workshop. If you don't know what it means, but you're curious, come to our Ghost AI workshop. But yeah.
Oops, I did that. I always enter the email.
What are you doing?
I always enter the email address there. I'm just creating a username for a new account.
No, okay.
All right, so now what I've done is I've selected the plain text editor mode and the writing mode thing here. The rest of it will be the same no matter what you're doing. Clicking next. So Leanpub's going to go and create an account for me, assuming I'm not already signed in. And it'll just take a moment. There we go. So the very cool thing that happens right away, as Peter was explaining before, is we actually start generating a preview of your book. It's something you're going to be doing a lot automatically using the default content from your book. When you create a book in the plain text editor mode, there will be default content that basically shows you like literally a book is being created from this content right now. In the plain text mode, the first thing you'll see is a little number sign. That means that this is a chapter heading. So that's all you need to do to create a chapter heading in Leanpub. Automatically goes into the table of contents in the book. All you do is the little number sign and a space, and then your chapter title. If you want a subsection, you do 2 number signs. Italics is, putting in between asterisks and stuff like that. So that's very straightforward. And you write in the browser here, things are auto-saved. So if you change things like hello world, the next time I create a preview, it'll say that in the book. We're not, by the way, this isn't meant to be a full tutorial. There are full tutorials for all of these things that are easy to find in our author help center. This is just meant to show you like, what's this writing mode? How does it work? You're not going to remember everything, obviously, stuff like that, but there are full tutorials with screenshot by screenshot and stuff like that. So the main area where you write is here. You can
Before we move on though, if you just click out, everything you need to know about Markdown or Markua to write a novel is literally on this page. Right? How to make chapters, how to make sections, how to make italics, how to make bold. Novels don't typically have numbered lists. If you want to see how to make a numbered list, there you go.
They also typically don't have bold.
I know.
Like literally.
Oh, I know.
Actually, this is like all you need to know to write a normal novel. # for chapter heading. Like there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so in this first file that we have here, it's kind of the basic formatting. You can learn how to make lists, stuff like that. And then we've got helpful links and stuff like that. There are actually 2 files in the default content. One is called Getting Started. That's the one we were looking at. One is called Writing in Markua. You can easily delete these default things.
Wait, no, don't do it yet. You should click on it just to show that people. Or did you already? Or click on it just so people know what it's there and what is in it.
So you click on the file, and then you should go to the second. You go to the file that you clicked on. This is the second default one. This is called Writing in Markua. If you're writing a sort of more complex thing than a novel, like a normal kind of nonfiction book where there might be images, stuff like that, this shows you all of that. Even for novels, you're definitely going to want to have a sample available, and we show you how to do that. And then we just give you examples of how to insert images, how to make lists, definition lists, and then it gets like kind of more complicated at like the kind of cooler, things as you go down. But
this is the everything you need. Basically, this one here is everything you need for a computer programming book.
Yeah.
Like basically, like the high level thing is the first page is everything everybody needs to know, and the second page is everything everyone writing a technical book needs to know. Like so basically, like here I put a code sample in. It's like, well, that most novels don't have code samples, right?
Yeah. And then so this is basically like this is I show you now. If you want to go to the overview page for your book, we'll be going through some of this stuff later. But you just click in the menu on the left, and you can get to the overview page for your book. This will be overwhelming a little bit the first time you see it, but there's lots of like this is basically the kind of like the great thing about this page is it's like everything is here. Everything.
But if you click on home, this is overview. So overview is overwhelming. We actually probably should just call it overwhelm. But home is basically the subset of overview that most people need. And so like everything you typically do can be done from home. Like you can go to the preview page, you can go to the publish page, you can make coupons, you can change your price. Like everything that you need to do that most people do typically is linked from the home page. And then if you go to overview, that's everything you can possibly do with your book, which is of course exhausting. Like it's an exhaustive list.
And then to get back to your right tab, the very important thing, like, how do I get back to writing my book? It's the top left thing and a big right thing there, a right button there. So you just click that to go back to where you write your book, and it'll take you there. And again, we got a nice little folder icon here, which is where your files are. You can easily add them, etc. This is actually, again, it's all spelled out in a full tutorial, but like hopefully relatively straightforward. Most people get started and just kind of play around, no problem. When you want to create a preview of your book, which is like create the PDF and EPUB versions of your book just for you to look at, you go to the preview page. There's other ways to do that, but that's the main thing that people do. You go to the bottom, you click create preview. You'll see a progress bar on the top. That's how you create a book in the plain text writing mode. The next one in our...
Before you move on, can we go back to the plain text writing mode really briefly?
Go back to what, sorry?
Go back to the right tab. We should show people the other way to make a preview, which is our little kebab. So over here, let's say you don't want to leave the plain text editor a lot. You just want to hang out here. You can literally just click the preview your book button here, and it'll make a preview. And if we're already making one, but it'll make another one when you're done. And if you're like, I want to publish my book and I don't even feel like going, you can go there and then go to the publish page. But click on the kebab again. So you can go view publish page, go to the publish page, but you can edit all your settings here and stuff. But you can also literally just publish your book right from in the right tab. So like you can, if you are in the writing zone and you're like writing away, but you feel like publishing, you can literally publish right from in here.
And if that
or
sounds
if you more
funny,
commonly,
you will. It's interesting. One thing that'll happen after a while when you get used to the way Leanpub works is you'll be like, oh, someone told me I got it. I published the first version of my book and my friend bought it, and he's like, there's a typo on the first page. Well, then you can just go and like correct it and hit the publish button, publish a new version. Oh no. And you'll have a new version out with no typo in it 2 minutes later, basically. So that's when we talk about like, just publish it from here. It's sort of like, it'll seem kind of funny at first, but after a while you'll be totally comfortable publishing new versions.
It's just,
as you go.
Publishing shouldn't be this big, scary, stressful thing. And everybody is always like, the first time. It's like, MailChimp with the sort of shaky hand, the sweaty.
Yeah, they got rid of that.
Everybody, I know they did because they did. They had it for a long time, and then it's like, no, we don't want to have this scary publish button hand anymore.
Yeah, because people got over, the recipients got over it as well, right? Like, and that's actually a big change that we've seen ourselves over time, right? Is that we're like, oh, this version of the book has a typo in it. They're like, the author will fix it. We're not saying don't be high quality. What we're saying is you can make things better very easily on Leanpub. So the next one is the visual editor. So what I'm going to do,
is that you or me?
That's me, I think. Okay. So I'm going to go create another book. And
I think I'm going to sit down. I think I've figured out that I can last about 45 minutes standing, and then I should sit down. So I'm going to do that.
Sure thing. Yeah, and for anyone watching, by the way, we'll just do these occasional kind of updates. Yeah, what Peter and I are doing is practicing for our big first book workshop, which is happening on Saturday, this Saturday in 2 days. So if you're interested in attending the workshop, you can go to leanpub.com, find the events button at the top. You can get a free seat for it. But we just thought we'd kind of do it live first because that's the best way to work out the kinks and make sure we do everything correctly. So what I'm doing now in the stage of the book workshop is I would be showing you how to make books on Leanpub in the various writing modes that we have. I had just showed you how to make a book in the plain text writing mode. And now I'm going to be showing you how to make a book in our visual editor, which, by the way, if you're looking at this and you're a Leanpub author and you're like, what the heck is the visual editor? This might be the first time you've heard of it or seen it. But if you go to the writing mode selector when you're creating a book, you can actually choose something called the visual editor. We have beta in all caps because it's beta. It was funny. I encountered an author who published a book. The first author to publish a book in this writing mode that I knew of was Mark Graben, and he sort of had an issue. I'm like, oh my God, someone actually used it. It's very cool. I'm just going to click the next button here to create a book in that writing mode. Like in the plain text writing mode, what you'll see right away is that there's default book content already created. And you can see that progress bar getting started at the top. So we automatically, when you create a book, we automatically create a preview just for you to see the PDF and EPUB. And that PDF and EPUB book is being made from the default content that you can change right here. So you're actually seeing kind of Leanpub at work live right away when you create a book in this writing mode. And so, for example, the first chapter in this book that I just created would be called Getting Started. I can just update that right here, chapter 1. When the next time I create a preview, that's going to be in my book. Like, that's how easy it is. So the visual editor basically works a lot. Like, if you're familiar with Microsoft Word or something like that, you'll be familiar with this. I think that's actually like better in a lot of ways. For example, if I select this text at the top, I can see that it's a chapter heading. If I wanted to make this a chapter heading, I would just select it, click the selector at the top, change it to a chapter heading. Boom. If I want, this is a paragraph. I actually really like that it says it's a paragraph formatting. But I could change it into a section heading. I could change it into a subsection heading. I could change it into a bulleted list, a numbered list, a quote. There's going to be more options like this going forward. You can see if you're familiar with like kind of WYSIWYG, like what you see is what you get editors. You'll know like the Command B, Command I. You can select or unselect. There's good old underline if you're into that, which I don't know, people might be. There's actually good old strike through as well. All these kind of legacy things, and there's going to be more options in the future. But like if you want to write a novel on Leanpub, doing the visual editor, like you've got chapter headings and paragraphs, and you've got italics, and there you go. Like you can write a novel on Leanpub that easily and self-publish it and serially publish it. Like if you've got an idea for one chapter, you did chapter 1, write your chapter, boom, you hit the publish button on Leanpub. You've got a published book for sale in the world that you can promote to people. It's that easy. If you've been watching already and you saw us do the plain text mode, you'll see there's a little folder icon at the top here. You can then see the book files in the order that they'll be produced in the book. Here we've got sort of lists and resources as the second file. Oh, there we go. That was inevitably going to happen. We go back to the right tab. Let's see what happens if we click on the third one, previewing and publishing. Oh, that one works. This is why this thing is in beta. And so we just do it in the default content for the books. We basically just explain, how to do things, how it all works, stuff like that. So this explains publishing.
Hold on, I just want to just jump in about that. That's something we literally just discovered right now. That's not why it's in beta. The reason why it's in beta is because certain things that you would need for a nonfiction book currently aren't there. So, for example, tables, images, like things that, like, if you're writing a novel, you're set. We've got everything you need. If you're writing a computer programming book or a business book, we don't have everything you need.
In this writing,
it's fun in this writing mode at this point.
Yeah,
like plain text mode is what you need for and basically like the plain text editor that you use either in the browser or that you essentially are using if you use our GitHub mode or our Dropbox mode gives you the full power of everything, right? And the visual editor gives you this tiny subset of what you can do. And the tiny subset of what you can do is enough for a novel and not much else at this point. Because we don't have images, we don't have tables, we don't have code samples, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So that's the state the visual editor is in. One thing to note as well, one cool thing that if you've been following along, doesn't matter what your writing mode is, you're going to have this same kind of structure available to you. So your writing mode happens, in the right tab for the visual editor and the plain text mode, but this kind of thing is going to be the same, basically the same, no matter what writing mode you're in, which is a very interesting thing. You obviously won't have like this. This will be different if you're in the upload writing mode. But the very cool thing is that like the kind of writing mode and then like managing your book is a little bit different. A little bit different for each of the writing modes, but basically the kind of like, kind of author overview you're going to have of each of your books is going to be very, very similar.
All the things you want to do around pricing, like basically like Leanpub's values are the same regardless of the writing mode.
Yes.
And because of that, Leanpub is this amazing place for you to publish and sell and have control and create discounts and multiple copy packages and bundles and extras and all of those things. That's all true regardless of writing mode.
Yeah. So the next thing in our agenda is for you to show the GitHub writing mode.
Okay. All right, let's do that. So I will add to stage my let's add my entire browser. I'll add my entire desktop to this stage. 1 second. Let's just go presenter invite. And I'll go, oops. Presenter invite, share screen, entire screen. So I'll put this over here so we don't have okay, here we go. Remove other media streams from the stage. Yeah, I've done that.
And yeah, while we're
it's
doing
convinced I haven't done that. What the hell? StreamYard's convinced that a PDF is. Oh, you have to take yours off. There we go. Okay. Good.
For anyone watching, we're going to be doing a book workshop on Saturday, and we're practicing right now. And one of the parts of that book workshop is going to be demoing all our writing modes live. So we're practicing now, and we just showed the plain text and visual editor writing mode. So Peter's going to be showing you the GitHub writing mode now.
Right. And one of the reasons we're practicing is just to get, one of the many reasons is to get a time check. Like right now, here we are here, and we thought this was 10, 20, 30 minutes, and it turns out it's 50 minutes so far because I was undisciplined. So yeah, well, here, we're here now. So we'll make up some time here, or else I'll make up some time here or whatever. So GitHub writing mode, let's do this. I'm signed in as myself. I'll close this and I'll create a new book by going to authors and create a book. And I'll be like, GitHub demo book, April 30. And instead of choosing plain text editor, I also have now choices for GitHub and Dropbox. I'll choose GitHub, and I need to pick a repository and a preview and a publish branch. So I'll go over to GitHub in a different browser window. I'll make a new book. Actually, I'll do this on screen actually in a second, just so I can show you something cool. Make sure that there's nothing. Here we are here, repository. Okay, so here we are in this window here. So if I'm gonna make a repository on GitHub, and I'll just be like demo book APR 30, and then this is just like a Leanpub demo. We have templates.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, we should probably use the template, but
No, I know. Sorry, we have templates. I'm gonna use a template, but I'm trying to figure out if I should show people how to get our templates if we don't. That can be done in the workshop. In the workshop, we'll show you how to find our templates. But actually, what I'll do right now is let's go to github.com Leanpub. So the Leanpub user on GitHub has a handful of popular repositories. There's default new book content, default new course content, and Ghost AI. And so our default new book content repo is a public template. And all it is there's a README, which is like, hey, we're default content. And inside here, there's a manuscript. And it's got a book.txt, and it's got 2 files and some resources. So we're going to pick, and the resources has an image and a code sample. And you might, if you were paying close attention to what Len was doing in the plain text editor, it's very similar to what you already saw in the browser and plain text editor. So I'm going to go here. I'll start with the default new book content, include all the branches. Why not? Doesn't matter. Create repository. So then here we are here. So now I'm making a new repository based on the template. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Leanpub as a collaborator. I already know how to use Leanpub, so I'm not going to skip ahead and have the part where it doesn't work. I'm going to go to settings, collaborators, have some fun time with my authenticating, and add people and add Leanpub. And here we are. So here we are. We're just Leanpub on GitHub. Add Leanpub as a collaborator. And Leanpub just needs to read. Our user automatically accepts these responses, these invitations. Yeah. So here we are here. I've done this. I'll come back into here. So now that we know this, I'll just go back to the repo itself. And all that was just to say, this is my URL. And my default branch is main. So over here, paste that in, main. If I was making a mistake and copying this entire URL, it would also work. We'd strip that out. So you don't have to pay attention. You can just paste in. And so here we are here. We got our title, our publisher is Leanpub. The reason for that is that publishers can sign up to use Leanpub as well, and then you can create a book in the publisher, but we're not going to do that right now. GitHub demo book, English, GitHub. Here's my repo. I'm not going to bother sending the output to Dropbox, but if you have a Dropbox account and you want it just to your preview to magically show up in your computer, you can choose to do that. And I hit next. And so here we just take you to a getting started page. And the reason for that is there's no write tab. You might notice looks basically like what it did for the browser book that Len made, but there's no write tab. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we'll go preview it. And since we added Leanpub as a collaborator already, the preview should work. If I had not done that, then what would happen is we have a little error message saying, hey, Leanpub's not a collaborator, please add us. And I click this, and yeah, I have a user interface bug where I scroll down and click the button, and it looks like nothing's happening because the progress bar was off screen. So I need to actually take a note of that because we need to not allow that to happen because that's pretty terrible. So we're previewing right now, and see if we can get that fixed by Saturday. Should be able to. So here we are, and then just show you what the preview looks like, which is here. Download it. Oops. So yeah, it's just a GitHub demo book. It's got the same stuff in it that basically in browser editor it does. And so I'll show you what the repo looks like now. Hold on a second. Okay, so over here, oops, I'll just take myself off stage and then let's get my, okay, you see my terminal?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll go into Leanpub, and I'll go to my, if I'm like, oh, right, what do I do now? It's like, well, you go to GitHub and clone your book, obviously. So here we are here. This is my demo book. So I'll just go to the drop down. I'll copy the URL. I'll be like git clone this thing. And then I'll CD into it. So then I'm just going to open up the entire folder in Visual Studio Code. It doesn't matter what I'm using Visual Studio Code because I'm a programmer by training. You could open this up in text edit. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to stay in Visual Studio Code. So book.txt is a list of files, nothing more. So the manuscript folder is super small. It's got 3 files in it and these resources, which has a code sample and an image. So here's the image, palm trees. Here's a code sample, very simple code sample. Book.txt is a list of files. This tells Leanpub what is the order of the stuff in your book. If you feel like it, you can write the entire book in one file. For example, let's do that right now. I'll say that we're going to write everything in manuscript.txt. And then I can just take this file here. I'll rename this guy to manuscript.txt. And then I'll take everything in here, copy, cut it, say, go into here. At the end, go to the bottom, paste it all in. And then I got nothing left in this file, so let's just delete it. And then I'll go in here and be like, hello world. This is a book written in Markdown. Let's save it. Then here, normal git stuff. So I'll just commit and push everything. I shouldn't have done that. I should have done normal git things like git add dot, git commit -a -m, my changes. But there's nothing because we committed it all, and then git push. That's really what I did. So I've now committed everything and pushed everything. If you don't like using browsers and having to go click buttons and stuff, you could even set up, if you're a GitHub user, you know what a post commit hook is. You can set it up so that all you have to do is push to a specific branch and Leanpub will automatically preview or automatically publish. But we won't bother doing that because I think people's eyes will glaze over. And so we'll just leave, we'll just tell you that you can do it and you'll know. We'll go back into Leanpub, click create preview, and then the book will be generating again. So while this goes, that's basically GitHub mode. It's like, I had to show how to connect a repo, what book.txt does, what a manuscript folder is. For example, if I want
to text files on your computer.
Yeah, you're writing a book. So I can take a new screenshot, say, what did I do? Something.
Oh,
neat. Cool. I got a red bar. I don't know if I met the children from nil. What the heck is that? That's fun. No, hold on. That's really interesting. Why on earth is that happening? Okay, I know why. Okay, so.
You didn't push.
No, I pushed. This is fun. I know the answer. So I did a sloppy thing. I was super sloppy and I got an error. And despite the fact that we've actually put some work into our AI, like error messages, this one here, we're clearly doing a bad job of explaining to people what this is. If I can click get help, this just goes to our help center. Yeah, that's not very helpful. Okay, so here's what happened. I hadn't saved my book.txt. You see the circle?
Mm.
And so if you look now at what's actually in the repo, if I go to GitHub and I'm here and I look in my manuscript, book.txt thinks this.
Right.
And so it's like, it's now, and so we're telling Leanpub these are the files with the book in it. And those files aren't there. So that was a really bad error message. If I save it and then push that. Okay, cool, fine. Then try the preview again. It'll work. And learn something every time you demo your software. That was a terrible error message, and we should handle that a lot better. So yeah, anyway, the point is, oh, you're right. What I was gonna show was like how to insert a new image. So I should do that. I'll just get Finder open here, and I'll just give me a second. And then I'll just go into my home directory. And
for anyone watching, by the way, Peter and I are practicing for our first Leanpub events happening in 2 days on Saturday. We're going to be doing a big book workshop which we're going through right now, where we show you all the explain Leanpub, show you all the book writing modes, and explain a bunch of other stuff. So you get 3 hours of kind of time with the experts. Whether you're at the beginning or the middle, or you've published a full book already, hopefully it'll be really helpful, like way to use a part of your Saturday. You'll learn about how to create books, how to publish new versions, and how to pricing and some book marketing stuff and things like that. So our hope is that it'll make you a better author if you attend and watch us and do these things for a while, but like practiced.
Yeah. So for example, if I'm adding a new image, I just took a screenshot of an image, cmux.png. All right, here we are. And then I put it into the resources folder, right? And so here we are with manuscript, readme, book to text, manuscript to text, resources. I added an image here. Then all I have to do to use it is just reference it this way. Images have a little exclamation mark. So if I just show you, like, for example, right? This is how we insert images. I should actually show you the different types of ways to do that, which is I'm doing it the lazy old-fashioned way. I should do it the better way. There. So now I'll just commit this, and there. Now add an image, and then I'll go preview my book again. I'll download this right now. It's to show you the one file thing, and then as I do this, I'll create preview, and so this was hello world, right? Some text, and then download it again once it's done. I think it is done already. Oh, no, it's not done. Anyway, the image will show up in a little bit. I'm going to take myself off stage for a second. So, Len, do you want to just where are we going from here?
Well, the next thing in our list is the upload writing mode.
Okay. Do you want to demo that one?
Yep. That one's on me. So I signed in as myself, as we've done 3 times already. Now we'll do it for a 4th time. Demo, upload book. You know, maybe there won't be one already called that. No, okay. We've done a lot of demos. So we give your book a title. We suggest a URL. You can obviously change that. You can change it later. You can change the title later if you want. But what we're showing you here right now is the different writing modes. And now I'm going to choose a book in the upload writing mode. In a sense, this is the simplest writing mode, but that's because you've already found your own way to create an ebook file. What you want to do here is, like, as soon as the book is created, you're just taken straight to the upload page, which is very awesome. Yeah, let me just click the selector here, go to my downloads, click upload. I'm uploading a book, click upload file. We do a little kind of, I don't know, virus check or something like that. You can also upload book sample files, and if you're doing a community edition, you can do that. Explain that elsewhere. Yeah, what we're doing is the progress bar is showing that we're scanning for viruses at the beginning. That should normally be pretty quick, and hopefully most books don't have viruses in them. But as soon as you've done that, your book is uploaded, and if you wanted to, you've got your title, you've already got a book landing page. You could go straight to the versions page, and you could, publish it if you wanted to, and it would be live on our website for sale. You probably will want to go to your settings page and do things like give your book a subtitle, do some about the book information. Teasers are actually very important. They appear under the book cover image. You're probably going to want to upload a cover image and stuff like that. But that's how easy and simple our upload writing mode is. I mean, as soon as the book is created, you're on the upload page, upload your file, enter your book information, update your author profile page, stuff like that. But you're like just basically ready to go.
The one thing to note about the only thing that I think trips anyone up about upload mode is uploading is separate from publishing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you upload the file, like to publish a new version, you upload the file, but then you have to go and publish it separately. And the reason for that is so you can add release notes. Like, if we didn't have it separate, then you wouldn't be able to add release notes so we have the separate, like uploading the file is not the same as publishing it. That's really the only thing you need to upload.
Yeah,
and
but it's super dead easy.
Yeah, and the reason we built upload mode is the escape hatch for people who want to write their books in LaTeX, basically. And if you're someone who really wants to write your book in LaTeX, then and like Leanpub support, to be clear, Leanpub supports LaTeX math. And so if you're someone who's like, I just want to talk about this because the only thing that's important to talk about in terms of upload mode, other than A, we have it, B, it's easy, and C, publishing is different from uploading. The only thing I think probably it's interesting to talk about with upload mode is when should you use it or not, right? So say you're someone who's like, I love LaTeX, I love writing in LaTeX, I'm writing a math book. Like, well, okay, fine, use the upload mode if you want. But there is a good reason to not necessarily, if you're only just including some math equations and you're open to writing in Markdown, you might want to do that instead. And the reason why is if you write in Markdown and just use LaTeX math for your math equations, then Leanpub generates the book and we can make PDF and EPUB. And you have all of Leanpub's formatting and you have like all this sort of AI stuff that we do. If you want to like have AI make a course or have, blah, 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 all that is a lot better. Like, I mean, basically if you're writing in LaTeX and generating the PDF yourself and uploading it, then Leanpub's tool chain isn't helping you in terms of the book production. Like, it's still a good thing to do, and that we're probably the most author-friendly store. We have all these wonderful features for you in our storefront, but our book production workflow isn't there. And then if you're like, oh man, you know what? I'd love to turn my book into a course. Well, the only way to make a course on Leanpub is to use Markdown, right? And so it's like, well, if you think that someday your book might be a course, then you should strongly consider writing your book in Markdown, use LaTeX math for the images, and let me serve the equations, and then, just consider it. And that's what I'd say about that. Sorry to jump in there. Go ahead.
Also the option for people who like, if you've published your book elsewhere and you want to try Leanpub as a platform for self-publishing, then you've already got your files ready, or you've paid a professional book designer to kind of do your EPUB or your PDF or something like that. We just accommodate that. I recall this was kind of originally, the first version of this was a kind of secret feature. Like you can order sort of secret items at some kind of fast food restaurants and stuff. It was kind of a secret feature for people who are like, I want to be able to, I created my book in my own way and I want to be able to use that. But then we created this upload writing mode, which is dead easy to use when it comes to sort of uploading your book. And then, you're going to want to add all your book information. The next,
but actually, let's before we move on, let's talk about the secret menu for a minute, just because we should.
Mm-hmm.
So, because there's about 3 or 4 things to unpack here, and it's actually it's not that much of a tangent, and it's interesting and worth explaining. So let's say you're someone who believes that books should be really professionally designed and really elegant and beautiful, and what Leanpub does is good or okay, but not the world. It's not like a contribution to book design, right? Where like the state of the art of book design is improved because your book exists in the world. And you'd love to work with a designer to create like an amazingly beautiful book. Great, you can use Leanpub. Here's what you want to do. First of all, what you want to do is realize that when you're writing, formatting is procrastination. Like I've said this. One of my problems is that I get bored of saying the same stuff, and you have to say the same stuff over and over and over. And so like, I'm going to say it again. If you're writing your book, formatting is procrastination. And so what Leanpub does is do me a favor, Len, go to the settings page, like the theme page, settings theme. So just scroll. We give you so many settings about how you can keep scrolling. Just I want everyone to see all these settings. There's a ton of settings that you can have. What?
I'm in the upload mode.
I know we shouldn't have that. We shouldn't
actually be here.
We shouldn't have a settings theme page for an upload book. It should be hidden. But if you weren't in the upload mode book, these are all these lovely settings you can set. So for example, we're doing things live. I'll take over. You stop sharing your screen. I'll go back to my GitHub book that we were doing. Whoops. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, we're back here, right? Whoopsie. Okay, I'm in my GitHub book. I've generated it again. Here I am. And give me a second. No. Okay. So in here, we generated our book for the second time or third time or whatever. I've got a preview. I'll open it up and I'll look at it and I'll hide my sidebar. Showing the fucking sidebar. And here's the third sidebar. So here's the third preview with an image in it. And then I'm like, okay, wouldn't it be great if I could do things like have a smaller font, or change the page size, or do this or do that or whatever? Yes, it would. And so you can do all that on Leanpub. Our belief is that when you're writing, you should just write and don't even worry what the book looks like. Now, some people, can't help themselves and they really do want to worry what the book looks like. Give me a second here. I'm just gonna mute my microphone and blow my nose.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people who, like, instead of writing, we'll just play with the font.
Yeah. And you don't want to, so basically, so here's the thing. I am too, but like what we do on Leanpub is we give you a whole bunch of little dials and knobs you can twist and turn for how everything should be. But the key thing is these are all global settings. These affect the behavior of everything. Like, say for example, I'm going to change my theme. I'm in this technical beta theme. I can say I want to change this. I'm going to create a new theme based on this theme. Change theme. And then here I am. And now I'm in a custom theme. And I can say, okay, you know what I want? First of all, I want to have a different page size. So let's go change that. Right now, I'm in the 7x10 page size. I'm going to say, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this book like 6x9, say, or 7x9.1. And then I'm going to say the inner margin is going to be like 1.25. And the outer margin, let's just make it 0.5, say, or 0.6 or whatever, who cares? And I'll have a top margin of 0.8 and a bottom margin of 0.6, say, and whatever. And I'll update the settings. And then I'm going to say, okay, you know what I'm going to have? I'm going to have like my body font. I'm going to pick like all these different fonts I can choose. I'm going to have a serif because it's easier to read. I actually really like Laura, but let's do like IBM Plex Serif. We'll go corporate today. And then our title font will be IBM Plex Sans. And let's say the body font is going to be like, say, 9.5 to just make people feel like they're doing an eye exam. Let's crank down the footnote font size to say 6.5. Whoops. I hate it when other websites do this, and I hate it when our website does this. The default behavior of clicking out of a dialog box to dismiss it. We need to stop doing that. Let's go back here. Our body font is IBM Plex Serif. Our title font, IBM Plex Sans. Let's be like 9.5, and let's be like 6.5, and then we'll just leave our heading. You know what we can do is we'll just say, let's make the heading, the first level heading, stupidly large, just to show that we can do it. And then I'll just look at my line height, and let's just tighten up the line height a little bit. I don't like any of those numbers. Let's just type a different number and update the fonts. And so then I've got a custom theme with these settings. And then I go back. I can just preview the book again. And while this previews, I could talk about what's our point. The point is, you can muck around with the theme like for hours and hours, right? But the nice thing is, since it's all in the theme and not like sprinkled throughout your manuscript, it's not like you're changing what's in here at all. And so what the words are is completely unaffected by what the theme is, right? And so the idea is, when you're writing, you have one job: write, make a better book, write in plain text. Don't worry about what it's going to look like. And then when you're done, muck with the theme all you want, do whatever and make the book look really good. And now I'm finally rewinding back to where we started with all this, which was InDesign. Let's say, for example, even after changing like one of the myriad settings we have, you're like, no, I don't like this. It's not good enough. But first of all, let's take a look at it, see just how not good enough it can be. I'll just reload the page. Here we are here. It's 157. We know we just generated it. Download the PDF. Right, here we are. Completely different looking book. But if you're like, no, I want to get a professional designer, then what you can do is you can go to the overview page, which lists everything. And then you can go over to find InDesign. Where's export? Versions. I always go looking for export. What?
Yeah, we knew about this. It's in our list.
What?
Yeah.
Len could see the train wreck coming and I couldn't. Damn it.
Well,
anyway, we have an
been fixed yet.
I thought. Anyway, we have an InDesign export, which theoretically works, and I think we'll probably have working by Saturday. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. We'll get one of our Claudes on this. Okay. Hey, Len, why don't you demo the next part? I'm going to see if I can.
Sure. Yeah. So the next thing is we're going to go through our 5th writing mode. So we've shown you how to create a book in 4 writing modes so far. Let me just add my thing to stage here. So there's a 5th writing mode on Leanpub, which is our Dropbox writing mode. Dropbox mode demo book.
Hey, Len.
Hey.
Let's just decide right now that we're not going to put this. This live stream is just live, and we're not going to put the recording on YouTube. This is just for the benefit of live people. Okay. So I've been screwing up with. I've been screwing up with like Mac OS with the sidebar is so annoying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to, before on Saturday, I need to remove everything from my sidebar to be more professional about what's in my sidebar.
Yeah, demo
like a bunch of all the
the
little optimizations you do. Anyway, go ahead, demo.
Anyone who's watching who's familiar with demoing knows that I could have cleaned up my sidebar a little bit is one of those things. Anyway, so when you create a book, you have, like I've said before, you have all these different options. The last one we're showing you for the writing mode is the Dropbox writing mode. So yeah, you just enter your Dropbox account email, click next. That sets off a process that, as we've shown before, creates a book, just like we've done 4 times already in our other writing modes. But what you'll see here is that what's happening is our book bot is creating a folder in Dropbox, and then what it's going to do is it's going to send you a share request in Dropbox from Dropbox that you'll receive. However, you receive it in your email. If you're signed into Dropbox, you'll see. I think this is right here. You'll see this little activity thing. You can just join the folder. This used to take a while, but now it's like super fast. So now you've accepted your Dropbox folder. Let's see. There should be in there will be a manuscript folder, and then there will be text files. Why am I not seeing anything in here? That's interesting.
Does the default content not show up?
It's not.
It could be that we started empty. I'm not sure. Did we start it empty or did we start with stuff?
No. There's supposed to be default content in there. There's supposed to be a manuscript folder, and then it's supposed to. Well, let's see. It might just.
Let's just start with the GitHub template and see if it works that way. Let's just try it out. Just assume that, or we could just say, time box it at a few minutes maybe. But right. Let's just try using the default GitHub content in this folder and see if it all works. Mm-hmm. Right. But if it turns out it doesn't work for some weird reason, then we'll just get that fixed too.
Okay. Let me see what's the best way to do this. I probably have
just clone the GitHub template, and then just put the material in your Dropbox book.
All right, so now we've got a manuscript folder in Dropbox and a README and Yeah, hopefully that's all syncing and stuff. Let's see what this error says. Right, that one's specific. Try this again. Hopefully it's all syncing properly and stuff.
Is your Dropbox running? Like the Dropbox daemon or whatever?
I was actually trying to do it just in the browser.
Oh, I have no idea. I was assuming you're doing it on your computer.
Yeah, it's working.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it should. We have a lot of Dropbox books.
Yeah. And yeah, here we go. So you've already, if you were watching this video, if you were in the book workshop, you would have seen us do this a number of times in various different writing modes, but now we're doing it in the Dropbox writing mode. Our book generators are just doing their job, and you can see the progress bar at the top. Creating the book from the default content that we uploaded, actually. It could be that we have something to look in there too, that Dropbox mode isn't actually kind of using the default.
Yeah, I've taken a note already.
Content
I'll get that.
But
get that fixed
very
next.
easy, and what you can do is, yeah, you can use the GitHub default content if you want to. Here we go, little syncing, our funny little joke about reticulating splines. But yeah, so that
nod to SimCity 2000. Was it SimCity 2000? Which one was it?
Don't remember.
I think it's SimCity. Love SimCity.
Yeah. But yeah, this would have created a preview just like you would have seen us do elsewhere. And then, yeah, you'll have, kind of files on your computer. Let me go back to StreamYard here to see what I'm actually sharing. I am sharing this. Okay. And yeah, you got you'll have your chapter things. This is a sort of interesting thing here is you can actually kind of you should be able to actually edit it. Like you could actually write your book in your browser in Dropbox like this. What I wanted to demo, actually.
The Dropbox demo is a lot cooler in my mind when it's on their computer, because it's like they're writing on their computer in a text editor. Like I think the canonical Dropbox user, if we talk about who is this for, Dropbox is here's what Dropbox is for. It's like prosumer. It's like you're the type of person who would have bought like an SLR camera, right? Like you're like technical, but you're not a nerd, right? You're technical, but you're not like Git. Someone who likes using Git, right? So you like things on your computer. You like having the control on your computer. You have a favorite text editor. If you're a Mac person, maybe you're like, I like BB Edit, or I like any whatever. Like, or you might be like one of those people. I can't remember the name of it. Whatever. There's so many people have their favorite text editors, and they want to work on their computer, but they don't want to use Git. What's the solution? And the solution is Dropbox. And so I just want to talk at a high level for a minute about this, right? Because Dropbox, we got some really good initial traction with Dropbox, and much love for Dropbox for this, right? It's like a magic folder. Like what Leanpub does with Dropbox is really simple. There's a magic folder on your computer. In that folder, you write your book in plain text. You can use Notepad. You can use TextEdit. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm a fancy person. You can literally use Notepad and write a book in Notepad on Windows, or write a book in TextEdit on Mac. You write your book right there. If you want images, you just put them in the images folder, right? The files that are in your book, you just choose, they're in book.txt. Super simple. But it's on your computer. And then you go to Leanpub and you click the preview button, and it's great. What happens is we make the book, and we put the book in that folder on your computer, like the preview. And if you want to go publish the book, you click publish, and then there's a folder on your computer in the Dropbox folder with the published book. And so this isn't, I sort of want to emphasize, I have much love for our Dropbox authors. These are it's not my camera comment is I think accurate, but it's you can be like a data scientist who's world renowned, but you're I don't like Git, right? Dropbox is the thing for you if you want control, right?
Yeah, the one thing I'm sort of itching to say is like the amazing thing about it, and it's funny because we've done it for so long, is like you hit like Command S
Mhm,
on your computer, and you
mhm,
click publish on the Leanpub website,
mhm.
and that file from your computer is used to create the published book on the
Mhm.
website. Like that's
I,
the kind of like that's the amazing thing. Like I just saved on my computer like I always save it when I'm working on my book, but then I can go to this website, this platform, and I can click publish, and a new
mhm.
version of my book is available because of that save I just made on my computer.
Yeah.
Like that's the real, and like no commit push blah blah, like just
Mhm, mhm.
I hit save.
Yeah.
Um
And I
yeah,
recommend waiting like 3 to 5 seconds
sure.
before clicking
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like,
But
you
like
don't have like,
outrageously awesome.
yeah, it is really cool. It's basically like if you're just doing things normally, like, you're writing, you save your file, and then you go over to the browser. By the time you've gone over to your browser, Dropbox is synced. Like if you're using a Mac and you use Dropbox, there's an icon in the menu bar with a little spinning thing. Like you save, Dropbox like does the thing, hey, I'm syncing. When it's done syncing, then you publish or preview, right?
Mhm.
You wait till it's finished, because otherwise, you'll get a partially synced stuff, and then stuff might not
Mhm.
be like you want. But yeah,
Okay, well, that's the last thing to say about this kind of the demo, the really heavy kind of demo section
I
is
want to I want to show the HTML fix. I've got it fixed
okay,
already.
okay.
Um, just cause. So here, I'll just demo that. 1 second. So here we are here, and I will just share my screen. Oops. I'll put StreamYard over on this monitor. Add to stage. Oh, you have to take yours out. I'll do it. I know how to do it. There we go. Oh,
I'll stop clicking. We're clicking over each other.
okay. Here's what here's what the ICL thing looks like. It's fixed on my machine. It'll be like live later today. You can just choose you can choose to generate ICML files. You can choose whether you want your blurbs to look like it have headers, whether you want different themes or not. And then you just click a button, and we generate InDesign files, like ICML files. And then you go into InDesign and you can load them, blah, blah, blah. So it's already done. And so then here we are. You can download the InDesign export. It's literally that easy. And
Yeah,
so as soon as I deploy it with the
yeah.
bug
The
fix,
very cool thing here is, yeah, the big story here is if you've written your book on Leanpub and you've followed our kind of advice, which is formatting is procrastination when you're writing. We're not saying formatting is unimportant. In fact, it's so important to us that we have an InDesign export feature so that you can hand off your manuscript when you're done to a professional book editor, a book kind
designer,
of designer, and they can design it using InDesign. So we give
if
them the
they,
files that they need to do that from your
yeah.
manuscript, which is a magical thing, by the way. Like that's amazing.
And I mean, and to be really clear though, like just to set expectations, this is like a niche feature. Like
Mhm.
almost all Leanpub authors don't do this.
Yes.
Right? Like, and I want to be really clear. I just want to explain from a product perspective why have we done this, right? I think Leanpub books look really nice. I think they look like, I think almost every reader in the world who's reading your book, if you just use one of our default themes, like our new so Leanpub had one set of default themes for over a decade, and they were kind of ugly. And how long has it been? Like 3 years, probably, since
Since
we
we
changed
updated,
added the new themes. About 3 years,
I don't know.
between 3 to 5 years, maybe. And we finally, after over 10 years, added 3 new themes, and they're really nice. They look really good. It's if you'd used Leanpub from like 2010 to 2020, and then you hadn't been here in a while, you'll be shocked how good Leanpub books look by default.
Yeah, and thanks to our Leanpub authors for
Yeah,
sort of playing around with the theme settings, because it's from them that we learned what a really good book could look like.
yeah, exactly. So
Um,
so anyway, so all Leanpub authors get to benefit from these new themes. So the point is, Leanpub books now, the default themes are good enough to look good when they're ebooks on Leanpub. They're also good enough to look good if you click the print ready PDF button and get a PDF that you can go take to Amazon and
mhm,
publish on Kindle Direct Publishing, like on KDP. You can take the print ready PDF that we generate and go publish it on Amazon. And if you're like, I don't feel like doing that, I'm lazy or I'm busy with my professional job, you can pay us to do it for you. We don't care. But the point is, our book themes look really good. But just because we think they look really good, you might think, nah, they look what a programmer would think is really good. I have opinions. Well, that's why we have all the settings. So you can change 100 or so different settings to make it look like what you think is really good instead of what we think our 3 default themes are really good. And you keep mucking with it until you get what you want. But if you can't, InDesign is the escape valve, right? Where because the thing is, in terms of values, Leanpub, the author has control, right? The author, it's like we exist to serve our authors. And if someone had written their book on Leanpub and they're like, darn it, when I finished my book, I couldn't get it looking exactly how I wanted. That'd be really sad. And so it's like, well, okay, we've given you all these different dials and knobs you can turn to make the book look a certain way. But if you can't get what you want with all that, then you can just click a button and get InDesign and then have a book designer do exactly what you want to it. So, yeah. So that's that.
Okay, so that is the writing modes section of the workshop that we've now practiced for the first time. Just once again,
hour and a half.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of filler, but once again,
no, I know.
Watching, what we're doing is we're practicing for our very first Leanpub events. The first one is going to be the book workshop on Saturday. You can attend for free. You can get a paid pro ticket to the workshop where you'll get a 1-year pro author membership for $79. That would normally cost you $179. But yeah, this is our marathon practice session. So we're not doing it for the first time when we're actually in there.
And again, we want to make sure it's not just authors watching us yap, right? It's like the workshop is you're doing it, right? Like by this point here, everyone in the workshop will have created a book in the writing mode they want. Right? Like we're going to demo the different writing modes and then everyone's going to have made a book in the appropriate writing mode. Now, I don't think it makes much sense for people to choose upload writing mode if you're coming to this workshop because
almost certainly no one will, but maybe they will. Maybe they'll be like, oh wow, isn't that amazing? Leanpub makes it so easy. I know
I've already got
platforms I could name that make it way harder to upload my book. And there could be a lot of people, but anyway, the last part of our agenda in this section was to talk about what writing mode should I choose. And so one thing to note is that if you've chosen whatever writing mode you've chosen in this workshop or already chosen, if you go to settings and writing mode, you can actually switch to any of the other writing modes if you want to. Which writing mode works for you depends on you, and you can change your mind later, obviously. I think for us, for the most part, if you know Git and GitHub, that is probably the best thing to use because of version tracking and all that kind of stuff. But the plain text editor is really amazing, and the visual editor is pretty awesome too. So creating a novel, visual editor might be the one for you.
Here's the algorithm. I think the algorithm is: do you want the files on your computer? Yes, no. So that's the first question. If it's no, then it's first of all, it's do you have a completed, if a flow chart, it's really 3 questions. It's, do you have a completed PDF or EPUB that looks exactly like you want and you don't want to use Leanpub to make your book? If the answer is yes, use our upload mode. Or it's or else it's do you like writing in LaTeX and you can pry LaTeX from your cold dead hands? If that's you, then use our upload mode. Otherwise, upload's out of the picture. Okay. Do you want to write the book on your computer? Then if it's yes, it's, do you like using Git? Or do you even know what Git is? If it's yes, I love Git, well then GitHub is for you. If it's no, I don't know what Git is, that sounds kind of complicated, Dropbox is for you. And then it's okay, now, but if you were no, I don't want to write on my computer. And again, people can write really serious books that make lots of money on Leanpub in the browser. Our plain text edit, to be clear, plain text editor is our most popular mode for a couple of reasons. One, it's included in the free plan, right? So you don't have to pay any money at all to use the plain text editor. Um, and so, and we think it's a great experience. It's built on a thing called Monaco, which is like it's built using an open source thing that's used in Visual Studio Code. Like it's a serious tool. Like the visual edit, the plain text editor, every single thing you can do in GitHub mode, you can do with the plain text editor. There's like, you're getting the full Lean. It's not like Leanpub has some free plan, which is like super like limited and you can't have all these features. Like you can literally do anything in the plain text editor, right? That you could do in GitHub. There's equivalent functionality because you're writing in plain text. It's Markdown, right? It's Markua, which is like Markdown for books. So if you want all the features, then use the plain text editor. Like if you don't want to, it's like, do you have the PDF? No, you don't. Okay, fine. You're writing on Leanpub then. Okay, great. Do you want to write it on your own computer? No, I don't. Okay. Do you want like all the features? Then plain text editor. Or if it's like, are you just basically writing a novel? Because right now the visual editor is basically, chapters, sections, paragraphs, bold, italics, and scene breaks, and basically not much else. There's no images, there's no tables, there's no code samples, yada yada yada. So like at some point, if you're using the visual editor, you might bash up against the limits of what it can do. Now, the interesting thing, by the way, is there's one little caveat that I want to say, which is you can start writing in the visual editor. And then if you're like, no, I need more features, you can just change your book to the plain text editor.
Yeah.
But you can't go the other way. Because if you're in the plain text editor, you got all these features you're doing. The visual editor doesn't support a bunch of them. And so you can't convert into the visual editor from other modes because the visual editor gives you a subset of the features, like only a part of the features, right? So anyway.
One thing I just wanted to add was one thing we didn't show off was if there's these editor settings in the plain text writing mode where you can actually kind of like change the displayed font size for you when you're writing. There's syntax highlighting, section folding, dark.
The mini map is cool too.
System, but yeah, then there's the mini map, which is just kind of neat. I haven't used this in forever. There, yeah. So you got a mini map. If you're using, and there's find replace and stuff like that too, which can come in very handy, particularly if you're writing all your entire book in one file, which I'm partial to myself. So the mini map is just kind of neat. You can see where you are, in your manuscript.
Yeah, dude, like basically if you've used Visual Studio Code, the keyboard shortcuts work. So, you can just, the stuff that you expect will work. And so like, this is a proper text editor. It's so funny. The reason we have a plain text editor, I had a super bad time at a conference trying to demo Leanpub about over a decade ago. And we didn't have an in-browser editor. And Leanpub is this Dropbox basically, or GitHub. So I was like, I'm going to go in there and everybody will be using Dropbox. It'll be totally fine. We couldn't put Dropbox on the computers in the computer lab. And I'm like, oh God, my demo is destroyed. And so like, it was like, we started with like, okay, we need just the world's lousiest text editor in a browser just so we can like demo Leanpub to people. And then, but then, with Monaco being so good, it's like, well, it's actually gone. We started with something really terrible, and then now we have this full featured way of writing in Leanpub in your browser. It's really great. It has autosave. And one last thing we should show, you can show it or I can show it, is when we autosave, we also create versions. Because one thing that you might be scared of if you're writing on Leanpub is like being like, hey, I don't want to lose stuff. And so every time you preview or publish your book, we create a version. And you can click the Create Archive button, and then you can download onto your computer the manuscript that was in that state. And so even if you're using our plain text editor in your browser on Leanpub, if you're like, I am paranoid, I don't want Leanpub losing my stuff. And as an author, you should think that way about everything. Like your book is super important to you, and we totally get that. And so like, you can download versions. If you preview or publish, you can download it. Now, here's the thing, though. I just want to clarify. When you're writing, we autosave, like we're spammy. Like we autosave a lot. Not every autosave produces a version because that'd be really noisy. And so we produce versions out of some of the autosaves and other ones we just keep around. And so if you want to basically like make sure that you have a version saved, just preview your book. Because we save a version of your manuscript whenever you preview.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a little thing to note.
Mm-hmm.
That I actually should make sure we do note that when we actually do the workshop. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and there's, a couple of other things. I don't think this is actually in our agenda, but you mentioned it earlier, but one of our most important versions is the print.
Yeah.
So if you want to get your book into print, when you're done, if you want to get it to print on like KDP or Ingram Spark or whatever, you just go to the print ready PDF page, and you choose your settings, and you click generate print ready PDF, and off you go to whatever platform you want to get your book into print on.
And one last thing, we should around that. Just scroll down to the big scary thing. We have on Leanpub, because the reason I want to talk about this is it's philosophical. So on Leanpub, you basically have 7 ebook sizes, right? Like US letter, which is a terribly stupid idea, but we have it. A4 paper, technical, like there's basically 7 sizes of page size for ebook sizes. But there's a whole bunch of print sizes. But the idea is with the book is that you basically choose an ebook size and then you can pick a corresponding print size. But what you don't want to have happen is like a situation where like you have to relay out your book for print. Right? We want you to format your manuscript once, not twice. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I'm just going to do a demo here to explain how Leanpub works. It's really complicated. Here's how Leanpub works. So you have an ebook that looks like this, and then it's like you decide, hey, I'm going to put it in print. You get a print book. Now the thing is, you can change your print page size. You can have it slightly narrower, say, right? But the ebook size, like the way we've done the layout, is exactly the same. And so basically what this means is the upshot of it is you don't have to spend a whole bunch of time formatting your print book. You format the ebook, you make the ebook look nice, and it'll look exactly the same in print, but just, with the margins adjusted so that it looks good on the page. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the big point is we spent 16 years thinking about all this, but you don't have to. We try to make it as good as possible for our authors.
So at this point, we would take a bit of a break or something like that. But the next thing in the agenda is you talking about lean publishing for 15 minutes.
Okay. And I won't do 15 minutes, but I'll do something.
Yeah. And then talking about publishing cadence, which is an interesting subject.
Okay. Sure. So Len, you can take a 5-minute. I'll turn your camera off. Take a break. I'll just yell at you in like 5 minutes or something. Okay. So, thank you for carrying the torch so far. Okay, so lean publishing. I will share my screen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to point at my YouTube talk from way back in the day, and just riff on some of the highlights in it. So I will do that. And I'll put this over here. Put this over here. YouTube. And find publishing. Here we go. So I will add to stage my browser window. So you just search lean publishing, YouTube. Well, I'm on YouTube, geez. Peter Armstrong. Then I'm the top result, hopefully. So this is my talk about like lean publishing. What is it? Why does it exist, etc. And when we do our workshops, I need to get better at making YouTube hide sidebars, the never-ending sidebar nonsense. Okay, so Lean publishing, what is it? Lean publishing is why Leanpub exists. Way back in 2010, I wrote this little manifesto talking about lean publishing, which is basically, and I'm talking about the first thing that really, like the first idea in Leanpub is a book is a startup, right? And what does that mean? It's like, well, there's sort of four parallels about between books and startups, right? One is market risks, technical risks, and a low probability of success. So basically, startups are risky, books are risky. Will anyone want my book, right? Do I have the skill to write a book? Do I have the time? Do I, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Will stuff come up in my personal life that derail me, or will stuff come up at work that derail me? There's all kinds of risks. And in terms of the chance of making like millions of dollars, very low probability, even though Leanpub exists. Very low probability that you'll make millions of dollars from your book, regardless. Um, you know, both writing a book and creating a startup are highly creative processes. Startups typically there's usually a few people involved at the beginning. Typically a good book is written by one person. Historically, books have been done in stealth mode, just like startups. This is a lot less true now, but back in 2010, startups used to be done in stealth mode. Eric Ries and Steve Blank helped change that with the idea of like Steve Blank had the idea of customer development in a book called Four Steps to the Epiphany, which is an amazing book. And basically Eric Ries wanted to raise money from Steve Blank, and Steve Blank is like, take my class. And Eric's like, okay. And so he took his class and just thought, those are good ideas. I'm going to apply agile software development to it, and came up with the idea of lean startup. Leanpub is basically lean startup for books. So basically Leanpub is Leanpub's idea is like, look, you should not write in stealth mode. You should publish as quickly as you possibly can. Because let's say you are starting to write a book and nobody cares, like literally nobody. You haven't sold anything. Stop or change what you're doing, right? I normally have meetings at this time. I need to not have those alarms go off. I remember with my first book, I decided I was working working remotely for a Silicon Valley startup, and I was using this wonderful technology called Flex, and I was also playing in my spare time with a technology called Ruby on Rails, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could have Flex talk to Rails? And so I had this idea, and then I did nothing. This is what I typically did with ideas, except register a domain name, because domain names are like pets that you pay $10 a year for. And so then, that's a long story, and and the workshop has limited time. So we'll skip that. Anyway, this is the origin of Leanpub, is the consequence of it's very easy to make something no one wants. And so lean startup is a way of solving that by getting, releasing early, releasing often, getting feedback from your customers. Leanpub is basically lean startup for books. So it's basically publish early, publish often, to listen to your readers, right? And we learned a lot of lessons from blogs, because if you think about blogs, like blogging is just in progress publishing, right? But there's also, looking back at history, there's, a whole bunch of historical origins of lean publishing. Like books used to be published in serial. Like everyone, Dickens, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, like all published their books in serial. And then the finished book actually was just something you did afterwards, with the successful book. But books were published in serial. They got feedback from readers. The ones that were popular, shockingly, ended up being longer. So the idea that an author needs to go away and hide in the woods for a year and write a book and with no one talking to them, and then they come out and it's done, and that's how you should do things, is totally wrong and antiquated. And then I was advocating for lean publishing is great for technical books, because basically, if you look at how technology works, if you write a book with the normal process, it takes you at least a year. So you miss the early innovators completely and the early adopters. Well, I mean, maybe you get the early adopters, but you miss the innovators for sure, and you miss some of these people. So by the time you can get a book out, it's already too late. And if you think now, and I wrote this in 2010, like this thing, think about AI now, right? If I want to write a print book about AI, and put it in, like, we're in Canada, so if I put it in chapters, go to chapters and find a relevant book about AI, right? About anything current. Like, you can't, because it's inherently going to be about a year old at least, right? So, like, good luck. So basically, I mean, one of the jokes I like to say is, like, Leanpub should just start sponsoring JavaScript frameworks, because, like, whenever a new JavaScript framework comes out, there's no print books about it, and, like, it'll take a year or so for print book to exist about the thing. Now with AI, like, everything is changing so fast, it's makes JavaScript frameworks look slow moving. So yeah, basically, the faster technology changes, the more print books are totally not useful, the more publishing in progress is necessary. So this is one of those things, like, lean publishing is just inherently inevitable. If you want to have a book out there while it's relevant, and the time it's relevant is being compressed, then publish in progress, it's just what you have to do. And Leanpub is the best way to publish in progress that there is. And it's just a question of which way is right for you, right? Whether it's, like, writing in our visual editor, writing in plain text in our plain text editor, using GitHub, using Dropbox. This is why Leanpub exists, is this stuff. I wrote that was my first version of this thing. I wrote a better version of it 3 years later. I wrote a book version of it. If you like, I just really love, seeing Peter talk about lean publishing. You can click on this thing and go read what I have to say here, or you can go watch an hour of me talking about it here, or 45 minutes. But yeah, that's lean publishing in a nutshell. Okay, and looking at past that, let's go to the agenda and see what I'm supposed to talk about next. But yeah, oh, by the way, there is some good stuff in here, like Dickens, Wilkie Collins, Mary Elizabeth Braddon. Mary Elizabeth Braddon's amazing. So I recommend my book. It's a good book. Read it for free, or watch my talk. Serial fiction. Anyway, so this, that's lean publishing. I'll take this off the stage and we'll go to the next phase of this, which is
the cadence.
Cadence. Okay, excellent. So I think, like, there's two aspects to cadence. One is, when should I first publish my book? And second is, how often should I publish my book after I have readers? So the first thing is, and just to be clear, I went off on tangents there, but in terms of my first book, I remember clearly I published in progress. I used Lulu. Leanpub didn't exist, and so I used Lulu to publish an in progress ebook on Lulu somehow. I had a secret URL for updates and all kinds of stuff. But I remember I published it in progress, and in the first week, I got 5 sales. And I was like, wow, I have to finish my book. Otherwise, wouldn't I be embarrassed? Right? So one thing that is really helpful is, when you publish and you get actual readers who've paid actual money for your thing, then that has this way of convincing you to work on the book, that if you hadn't published and you're just, oh, maybe I'll do a thing, and you start writing, and then maybe you write some blog posts, or you have a Substack with some posts or whatever, there's no pressure to finish. Having actual pressure to go and take your thing from this incomplete mess to a finished product is really helpful if you publish while it is in progress, because then the probability you'll finish is super high. So then, okay, when should you first publish? My answer is when someone will get their money's worth from your book. So let's say, for example, I'm writing a book about how to use GStack. Let's say I was going to write a book about GStack. So GStack is this wonderful thing. It's a set of skills for Claude Code that let you do various things. And by the way, somebody should write a book about GStack on Leanpub. I would love it, and it would probably sell well. So let's say I want to write a book about GStack. What is GStack? It's a set of skills that tell Claude Code how to do some stuff in a certain way. It was made by the guy who runs Y Combinator currently, Gary Tan. And so you could write a little book about GStack and be like, hey, there's like, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 skills in it. I'm going to write a book, and each skill will get a chapter. Okay, so when should you publish the book about that? Like, well, my answer is, if you're writing a technical book, and let's say you save someone 1 or 2 hours of time, if it's a computer programming book and you're saving someone 1 or 2 hours of time, that's worth $20 or $30. It doesn't matter that your book is like, say, 3 chapters or 4 chapters. You're planning to write 30 chapters. It's like if you've saved somebody an hour or two in the technical field, your book is worth $20 or $30 right now. Right? Like, it's like, even if someone is, I mean, $20 isn't what it used to be. Like, if you save someone who's working In-N-Out Burger an hour, your book is probably worth $20, right? Because they pay their employees well. So like, if you can save somebody an hour or two, your book is worth $20. And so basically, like, don't publish like a 5-page book, which is like, here's my table of contents and I have an exciting plan. Like, if you do that on Leanpub, what'll happen is people will buy your book and they'll be like, there's nothing in it, and they'll ask for a refund. And then we'll probably email you, hey, Leanpub isn't Kickstarter. We don't believe in people publishing nothing, like a book which is just a placeholder of a title and like a plan. That's not Leanpub. What Leanpub is a place where you write and you publish when the reader would get value from buying your thing. And when you also should have a plan to take the thing and finish it. So like, I think, let's say if I was writing a book about GStack, I would say it would be totally wrong to wait until you had every single skill covered with thorough examples. There'd be a couple of reasons for it. One, it's a moving target. Even if you think you've done everything now, by the time you've done your book, there would probably be 5 or 10 more skills in it, right? So it's like, well, and secondly, like, again, if you have some book about 5 or 10 skills in GStack, and you think that if someone read your book and followed along with it and did stuff, they'd learn something and it would save them an hour or two of time, well, then it's worth $20 or $30, right? And so then the first publishing question is, when will it save someone time? Like an hour or two. That's my personal thing. For most books, that's probably 1 or 2 chapters minimum, maybe 3, like, I think pretty early, like publish pretty early, like, between 2 to 5 chapters. And then now the earlier you publish, the more important it is to iterate. Like, if you if you have a book where you're planning to write, like, say 25 chapters, and you publish it 3 chapters in, and you don't release anything for a couple months, your readers might get itchy, right? Like, it'd be like, and Leanpub solves this by having a 60-day refund policy, where, like, if you buy a book on Leanpub, the idea is you should get your money's worth when you buy it, or else you should get your money's worth with when you buy it, and then the progress the author's making to make you, the reader, believe that, yes, I'm going to get my money's worth here. And so that you decide to not get a refund, right? And so basically, if you publish something super incomplete, like, it's only 3 or 4 chapters, publish a few versions every month, like at least once every couple weeks, right? Like, keep the cadence fast enough. If you publish something that's like longer, like, it's like, hey, my first version's like 250 pages, you can be more chill, like, take a month, but basically, like, the earlier it is, the more often you should publish versions, right? Glenn, do you have something to add there?
It's kind of, yeah. So like, if you're sort of like, if your idea is you've got a computer programming book that you want to publish, you've got an idea like that, that's a really awesome approach. I personally, like, another approach is like, I'm publishing my book serially. Well, then it could actually be very straightforward. I publish a new version every time I finish a chapter. I finish chapter 1, publish my book for the first time. And then what I would recommend is, although one of the joys of self-publishing is it's all up to you, freedom and blah, blah, blah. If you're going to be publishing serially, you should have some kind of a schedule. Like, once a month, I'm going to publish a new chapter or something like that you announce in your About the Book section. And this is my plan. So people can read it and go, oh, that's the plan. Another thing and this can kind of get even more complicated as you go on. But one thing that people do is they raise the price of their book as they go. So their book is like, for example, if you want your book to be worth $100 in the end, and it's going to be 10 chapters, and you finish chapter 1, you might make your book worth $10. One reason to do that, for example, is like, if I end up, for whatever reason, not working on it anymore, someone got their $10 worth. So there's people approach it that way.
And to reward early adopters that they paid less for supporting you. It's like, you got the book for $10 because you made a bet on me, and you get all this future value for nothing.
Exactly. So we're rewarding early adopters. Buy my book that's 10% done, but buy it for 10% of the final price. Like that's kind of a cool way of getting people buying your book early. So there's all kinds of cool things like that.
But the other approach is like the 10 to 100 example is super extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more I want to advocate for something, say you're writing a book about, we'll stick with the G-Stack example. Say when you're done, you're planning for the book to cost $30. Even if you publish it 10 or 20% complete, I would strongly advocate for like setting a suggested price of like say $20, like, and a minimum price of like 15 or something, like not like $3. Like any book that's a serious nonfiction book should cost at least $15 on Leanpub. Like,
yeah, and
even if it's in progress.
One of the biggest mistakes, to put it straightforwardly, that we've seen authors make over the years is pricing their books too low. So that's the kind of concern that we're both kind of addressing here is that you don't want to do that. Don't be shy. Don't undervalue your book. That's our kind of.
And we took and so and I'm gonna. You know what? We're 2 hours in. We have a planned team meeting later today. We might have to do this in segments. I think we should just go totally rogue and just improv do a pricing talk right now. And then maybe just consider this, like, we learned that we need to stick to the script. I specifically need to do a better job of sticking to the script. So let's just talk about pricing and then let's kill the live stream. But let's talk about pricing. Or maybe we do a second phase of this, like where we pick up.
Well, try this one off. We're in the middle.
Okay, so let's talk about pricing, but let's. Okay. First of all, to the minimum and suggested price thing. Some Leanpub authors wrote amazing books that were like super valuable, easily worth $20, $30, and they were priced for like $2 or $3. And the funny thing about it is, let's say you priced your book at say $5 on Leanpub. And well, at $5, we were back in the day, we were paying like even if it was subtracting a 50-cent flat fee at that price. Like now, for example, it's like we pay 80% royalties above $7.99, and below $7.99, it's 80% minus 50 cents. So, okay, let's say, for example, you were like, I have a $5, and the reason for that difference is that the payment processors like PayPal and Stripe charge a flat fee as well as a percentage. And so we charge a flat fee, which is slightly bigger, as well as a percentage for two reasons. One, we want to nudge you to price your book more than $7.99.
Yeah.
Period. We want books. The Leanpub books should cost $9.99 or more, like $19.99, $29.99. They shouldn't be $5 books. Like almost no book on Leanpub is a $5 book, except maybe like if you're doing like, writing a romance novel and you want to write a really affordable price, fine, go for it. But so if you're like a $5 price, then on Leanpub that's paying you $3.50, right? Because 80% of 5 is 4 minus 50 cents. That $3.50, some authors would be like, look, if I took my book and published it at Amazon for $40, like with a publisher, if a publisher sold my book in print on Amazon for $40, the publisher would get about 20 and I'd get about 2. That's how the math works. So even if you went on Leanpub and sold a $5 book and got $3.50, you're ahead of if it was a $40 book on like traditionally published, which is just insane. But it's the way the world works. And so it's like some authors will be like, oh, fine, I'll publish my book at $5. I'm still making like almost double, blah, blah, blah. But at Leanpub, we're like price based on value. You're writing it, if you're writing this, sticking with like, our ideal customer profile of a computer programming book author, if you're writing one of those, your book should be $20 or $30, right? You're delivering that much value easily to the readers. If you want to make it like globally like accessible, so that not like it's available, you can have a minimum price of lower and a suggested price of 20 or 30 if you want, whatever. But like, basically like we strongly encourage our authors, like the thing that like basically think of it this way. On Leanpub, if you sell your book for $20, you get $16 of royalties. So if you sell 5,000 copies at that price, it's $80,000, right? So if you're writing a niche book that you can maybe see yourself selling 5,000 copies, it can still be a success. Whereas if you were earning like $2 a copy, then you're working for less money than minimum wage probably, right? So that's Leanpub makes it possible to do a niche book in a way that actually makes financial sense. And that is super important to me. It means a whole bunch of authors can write a whole bunch of books about a whole bunch of niche topics that they otherwise couldn't do for money. Like they'd be doing it as a passion project that they wouldn't earn anything from. And that's so like our pricing, like, we encourage our authors, charge $20, charge $30. If you look at Leanpub's bestseller lists, and look through the books, you'll see that those are the typical prices, right? 20, 30, 40, like, because authors are delivering that value. The readers pay it. They see with our sliders, oh, the author's getting 80% of this money, right? And we've even seen readers pay more than the suggested price because they want to support the author. So for us, it's very much a situation of readers supporting authors and Leanpub encouraging people to price their books fairly and us paying a very fair royalty.
Another, and this is kind of deep kind of pricing strategy, but another reason to have kind of what might seem like a relatively high price is discounts.
Mm-hmm.
People love discounts. And so one way of thinking about it is like, maybe I'm going to sell most of my books on discount sales when it's like 20% off or something like that, right? You might actually, you can then price your book based on what the actual minimum price I want to sell it for is the maximum discounted price I'm going to be selling it for. And you can price your book that way. So people can go, wow, I'm getting like a $40 book for only $35 or something like that. And so that's a very interesting thing to think about.
And
your book
and let's actually dive into that a bit more. And I this was supposed to be my section, and so I love talking about pricing ad nauseum. So I'll talk about credits too. So first of all, so let's say, for example, your price. So in terms of discounts, when you price your book on Leanpub, you can say like, hey, what is the maximum allowed discount percentage? I'll just share my screen and I'll just show an example of this. It's super important to go over this, so we'll just do that. So I'll just share my screen. Add to stage. Okay, so I'm signed in as me, so I can just edit my book. Edit. I'm signed in as me. Oh, haha. Lean edit. And so here I am here, and I'll go to pricing. So I'm realizing that if we wanted to talk thoroughly about everything, this is a full day workshop. Like everything that we want to talk about. And, if we could spend a full day just on the agenda that we had. And so we're going to have to be very careful about what we do. But anyway, zooming in. A minimum paid price. You can say, if someone's going to spend money, what can they spend? And I could say $29 or say $19. Say look, the minimum I'm going to sell the book for, say, is $19. Now you can allow free purchases. You can choose whether or not free purchases are allowed. And so this is the minimum paid price. So if I have this combination, it means you can get it for free, but if you're paying money, you need to spend at least $19. But you can say, I recommend that you spend $29. Say, I actually really like this combination. This is like, my book is worth $19. So if you're spending money, spend at least $19. I recommend spending $29. But I'm allowing free purchases. Now you might be like, will anyone actually pay money? Some of them will, yes. And you're better off, I think, with this combination than just the sort of low self-esteem combination of like 2. Like you're seriously better off like saying like, my book is a $19 book minimum, suggests is $29, but I know there are some people in poor countries and I want them to have my book too. I'm going to allow free purchases. Now, if you want, you can say, I require that you have a reader membership. That's, I think, too big of a scope it's not for our workshop, but for our little demo workshop, I think it probably is. People can get reader memberships. You can require that someone has a reader membership in order to make a free purchase. And if they don't, then they have to pay the minimum price. So this lets you have your book be available for free for people with reader memberships, but not free if you don't. Now, let's pretend, for example, I was like saying my minimum price is 29 and my suggested price is 39. You could also say, I want to have my book available in Leanpub sales. And so we recommend that this number here is at least 30%. And so what this means basically is Leanpub runs a weekly newsletter where we send it to about 100,000 people with, hey, here's a bunch of coupons. And we have a monthly version of that as well. And that goes to about 140,000 people. So if you want a coupon to be attractive, it should offer a meaningful discount. If I had some discount of like 5%, it won't even make it in our coupons. Like we'll never include it in our newsletter with a 5% discount. Like it's not relevant. So people need a meaningful discount. So we recommend like somewhere like 30 or 40% or whatever. So that if someone's getting a coupon, if someone's using a coupon, they actually get a meaningful sale. And so then let's say, for example, your book was 40% off. Then that means, okay, that's 40% off the minimum price. So $29 times, 10% is $2.90. So times 4, let's just doing math on stream. So that's $12, $11.60 discount. So then it's like 18, whatever, 17 or $18 is what the book would cost in one of our sales if you did this. But you're like, I don't like doing math. I'm just going to say the minimum discounted price is like, say, $19. So like, I'll say Leanpub could discount it for 50% or whatever. Doesn't matter because the minimum that Leanpub could sell it for in one of the sales is $19 or $19.99. So this lets you, do you see what I mean about like Leanpub is all about the author having control, right? Like, we let you have a minimum price, a suggested price, a discount percentage, a minimum, to override, whether or not it's free. All this control is for the author, right? And there's one other thing, which is reader members, and this is a super minor detail because reader memberships are with credits are really new and not many people have them. But you can also say, and this is by default true, to use the maximum discount to calculate the credit price, which basically means like you allow us to sell your book like this. So that means that this book will cost 1 credit because basically we have reader memberships, people can get credits, and a credit is $25. So if somebody's spending a credit on your book, because with these settings, you get $20. So like it'd be like a $25 purchase. So anyway, the point is we have a whole ton of features all here, and it's all about giving you the power to control how your book is sold, and you make really great royalties regardless of what the price is. But please charge more for your book. That's the high level.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to not make any of those changes to my book because I already like the pricing the way it is, because this book exists in order just to market what the ideas are, not make any money. Okay. Let's end this thing here, I think.
Yeah, this is our sort of marathon practice session, just for everyone watching who knows, or who maybe got in late. We're practicing for our very first book workshop, Leanpub Event, which is happening on Saturday. You can attend for free. It'll be much more polished than what we're doing here, but that's why we've done this. And basically it's like a big 3-hour kind of intro with the founders to Leanpub. If you're a self-published author or an aspiring self-published author, probably a really great way to spend 3 hours of your time. There's also another workshop afterwards on Ghost AI, which is our kind of, Claude skill kind of thing that's very cool and awesome. And you can sign up for the full day workshop as well. And if you sign up, you get this really great pro author membership for 1 year at a discounted price, basically. So
free.
Yeah. So if you're interested, if you're a Leanpub author now, or you're interested in being one, I highly recommend attending the book workshop. And if you're a technically minded person, the Ghost AI workshop as well. They'll really help you hopefully write better books and reach a bigger audience and sell more books and make more money.
Yeah. And the two things I'll note, basically, if the phrase GStack for books means anything to you, come to our Ghost AI workshop. If Ghost AI workshop, it assumes that you use Claude Code. Um, you could use Ghost AI with Codex or something if you wanted, but like the workshop assumes that you're someone who is like fine with Claude Code and you use it. And its purpose is to, it's not just, I just wanted to say one thing philosophically about it. It's not about producing AI slop. Like it's actually not. It's like Leanpub doesn't like AI slop. What we are about is help. The purpose of Ghost AI is to pull the book out of you. Like if you, and that's why when I say GStack for books, if you have used GStack, like specifically like the office hours skill, right, where it like asks you questions and you give it answers, and then like it's an interview, right? And so Ghost AI, one of the Ghost AI skills takes that similar approach. Like starting your book in Ghost AI is a big interview where it's interviewing you and asking you questions. And the output of that can be fed, like turns into an outline of your book. And so it's like one of those things where like all you have to do is talk to Ghost AI, and then all of a sudden you have like a 30 or 40 page book outline. Like, and just here, I'll show one thing, which is fun. This is a super cool demo. Now that we've been talking for 2 hours and 20 minutes, I will just share my screen and we'll talk about what was here. Find the folder. Give me a second. Here we go. So here, I'll share my screen, add to stage. So this book here, which was our workshop book explaining all this, was written by Ghost AI interviewing me. And like, well, here, actually, I should start over. I'll show you what the original input of this was, because it's amazing. Here we go. So if you think I'm scattered sometimes, just look at this. And they'll convince you. This was the outline for the book workshop in scrawl on index cards. I took pictures of the index cards using notes on my phone, scanned it in, and then literally put it in preview, opened it up, and took a screenshot of that. And here's the book outline, the book workshop outline. I fed that in to Ghost AI. Ghost AI interviewed me about it and produced the first version of this book. And then it's like, and then what we did is I ran the Ghost outline skill to basically challenge what the outline was, and back and forth iterated. And then basically that got to this point here. Where this is not something, this is like, if you look at the content, you see to do Peter, right? To do, like this is not a book, right? But it's also not nothing. It's a 40-page skeleton, right? That one could easily see go from here to a couple hundred pages if you were trying to produce an actual book out of this, right? And so basically, like, it's the ultimate thing to kill, say, writer's block. Like if you're like, oh no, the blank page, what am I supposed to do, right? There's a number of things that you can do. One thing is you can get, like, if AI writes something, you're like, no, that's absolutely not what I want. And then you go write the thing yourself, right? I did that. I had AI write an essay, and then I wrote my own essay, totally different essay. And I shipped both of them to the Leanpub website. Because it's like AI wrote the things that I felt I had to say, and then I wrote the things I wanted to say. Or there's like, this idea of outlining, like going from just having AI talk to you, and you can just literally, for me, I use Whisper Flow. So I just literally talk to it, and then an outline comes out. And it's really magical, like in terms of, and so like, the start, like again, back to where we started with this thing over 2 hours ago, helping authors do everything they're doing faster is part of the whole Leanpub thing around the flywheel and the world's slowest viral loop being slightly less slow. And so it's super important for us, but we think it's super important for our authors. It'll help them a lot. And yeah, and we're building, we think, and GhostSky is all MIT, like it's all open source. And so like, we're just trying to make this the most helpful possible thing for authors. Obviously, since it produces Markdown, Leanpub is the best place in the world to publish books written in Markdown. So it helps us too. But yeah. Okay, let's call it here.
Okay.
Awesome. Hope this was fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, see you guys hopefully on Saturday.
Okay.